Right, so this is the suit that has just arrived from an online auction, and I'll just go through my first impressions. It's fairly clean. I think some soapy water will clean it up really quite nicely. Yeah, the colours are quite vibrant, and the blue is more of a navy, a bit darker than it appeared online, but it's still really good. It's got this great YKK zipper down the front, heavy duty. It's a bit stiff at the moment. I think it's snagging on something at the back, which I might have to deal with. It's got some really great features. Let's start just at the top here on the shoulder. There it is, Kushitani Hamamatsu in Japan, where these suits are made. And there's some really great details. There's this quite short YKK zipper. I could use that as a phone pocket or something like that, maybe on the interior of the bag. It's got two of these K Racing sort of branded and stitched logos. I could use that maybe well, on the front, back, or even on the strap. And then it's got these really great sliders. I'm not really sure what they're called. Stuck on Velcro here on the knee pads. And so I'm thinking they would make really good corners for the bottom of the bag. And then right at the ankle here, there are two of these, again, excellent quality YKK zippers. This is a longer one than on the cuff there, so this would probably be ideal as an interior zipper pocket, or possibly on the back of the bag. I mean, I could have two pockets potentially, so there's a lot of flexibility there. Turning it over, we've got some more branding at the base of the back here. Now it says Free Racing. Was that the team or sponsor? I don't know. But this Free is in better condition than the one on the front, which looks like, you know, it's gone a bit yellow, gone a bit sweaty perhaps. So I don't know, maybe I could transfer that onto the other side if I wanted that to be the front. And we've got these vents here. I think they're like air vents or like stretchy bits here. They could be, you know, extra pockets. And then Yoshimura, this is really great. I was wondering if it was like printed on, but this is actually a kind of you know, badge that is sewn on. Yoshimura products, I think they make exhaust pipes and things like that. It's not someone, you know, not Mr. Yoshimura who rode this, who wore this suit. It's a sponsor's name there. And that's about it. It's got these at the back of the legs here, a bit dirty. I don't think I'll use them, but who knows. Lots and lots of potential. I'm well pleased. So we'll see what we do on the next stage. So I'm giving this one a wash. I'm using this Vanish pre-stain bar. You buy it from the supermarket. It's got enzymes in it that eat away at all the fat and the dirt. And the idea is that you kind of work it on in and then leave it for a while for it to do its magic, and then come back and wipe it over. And I'm not going too crazy about it because I don't know how it will react on this finish. You know, I don't want it to eat away the material or anything like that. So I'm going to start deconstructing the jacket, the suit now, and a few tools you can use. This is a seam ripper. I'll see how I go with that. If that doesn't work, I'll try this. It's a pointed razor with a handle. I think women use it for the eyebrows or something like that. I stole that from the wife. Hope she doesn't notice. And if that doesn't work, I've got the Stanley knife as well. So here we go with the seam ripper. I'm going to start with the sleeve here, and you know, they've used some very thick and strong, probably polyester thread here, so I'm not expecting it to be too easy to dismantle, but there's the start of it. The seam ripper is getting through. It's not damaging any of the surrounding material. Okay, it's coming off. Now, this is a process that takes time, as you can imagine. And let's give a try of the Stanley knife as well while I'm there, because we've got it in the hand. Look at that. Right, so there's the arm, and that'll be great for a number of applications there. I won't need this lining, so that'll be pitched. Next, I'm going to try and release the front from the back. Yeah, it's not in bad condition. And there will be a lining anyway, so you know, this will all be covered. So now I've got to be careful, because the front doesn't have a seam along here. The zip goes right down to the crotch there, so maybe I will cut it across from about here, I guess, to give me some options for what to do with that. Because I haven't quite decided. Well, I've asked the internet, you know, which is going to be the front, which is going to be the back, and other options. So I don't want to cut it in a way that limits those options. So I'll have to be careful how I cut this part here. And that's the front panel removed. Great. Looks like a swimsuit. So for now, I'll hold fire on what to do with the leg parts. I haven't decided exactly what I'm going to do with these knee pads. Maybe they will be on the bottom of the bag. I'll ask the internet about that. And these K-Racing badges, they may be used as a gusset or maybe on the strap. Those decisions have yet to be made. This is one of the badges on the sleeve, and it has this sort of vinyl covering over a woven badge from the maker, Kushitani Hamamatsu, and it's gone kind of cloudy under the plastic. Maybe it got wet or dirty or something. So what I'm going to do is remove that and see what we've got underneath. And the way to do that is on the back here. That outer line of stitching is what is holding that plastic in place. So and that is off there, and that looks a lot better, I think, with that sort of cataract removed. Yeah, and that was a success. So I'm going to do the same for this one as well because it's a bit cloudy. Right, it's a little bit grubby, but I might be able to use some light detergent on that and clean that up. But yeah, that is, I think, better than having that left on there. Right, so now we're looking at what the internet decided will be the front of the bag. I just folded this piece under to give you an idea of the dimensions that we're going to be going with. And my mate Chris advised that I make a feature out of the Yoshimura branding. They make motorcycle parts, Japanese. And so if I use that as a feature, then that dictates the width of the bag. So that badge is about 38 centimeters. So I'd be looking at a bit more than that for the seam allowance and so on. So I guess about 42 centimeters for the front panel of the bag, 42 centimeters. And I like to work things that are squared, so going down 42 centimeters on the side here, I'd be going right up to the top here and running it down to, well, that's 40 centimeters to there, to the top of this free racing badge, which I haven't decided what to do with yet. So, you know, that's the kind of dimensions I'm going to be working with. What I could do, because I haven't got quite the length here, I could cut it here and then add a panel, I guess from this sort of dark navy material left over from the legs or the sleeve, and have a panel up there to give me a bit more that way. So that's not going to be a problem, and I can use this logo maybe on the strap or somewhere else, you know, there's no problem. But I think I want to go for more of a clean look on the front. Looks like a Union flag, UK flag, that's what it reminds me of. And I've got these things, by the way, they're just sort of like air vents. There's like a mesh here, and you know, I'd like to try and use those kind of features maybe as like a telephone pocket or something like that. and I may do that, but I don't think it's going to be on the outside. What I'm going to do here is put either the elbow pads or the knee pads as a kind of corner, strong corner on the bottom, and it, you know, it makes it unique, and people will see, oh yeah, that is an old racing jacket suit, you know. So you know, it's a unique feature. So that's what I'm thinking of there for the front. Now onto the back. I just need to trim off these bits of lining there, but what I'm thinking of here is, again, I need to go on the same dimensions, 42 by 42 centimeters, and I could go this way, in which case I'd need to probably make it wider, because that is right up to 41, 42 there at the widest part, so it'd be a bit of a stretch. I could only use that much really if I go this way up. And the zipper would be that way. Now with the zipper, I want to make this into a pocket on the back of the bag, similar to one I've made that I used to use, and it's like in the back, and it's, you know, concealed, but it's making use of this excellent heavy duty zipper. So what I'm thinking at the moment is have it this way round, or maybe this way round, and the zipper functions to reveal a pocket there. So the decision there, which I might ask the internet, will be, you know, do I go that way with a pocket, kind of like a pocket you slide your hand in on the side there, or have it this way around so that it's more of an orthodox style pocket where you open up the zipper and right at the top there, that's the mouth of the pocket there, so you know you could have a good sort of 10 or 12 centimeters and quite a long pocket there, certainly big enough for mobile devices, cameras and bits and pieces. So yeah, that's what we're looking at so far. So I've put my Stormtrooper gloves back on again, and I'm having a look at the sleeve, which I treated with some Vanish stain remover, and it hasn't really made any difference to it, I think. So I'm going to have a go at this one. It's just got some light staining really, but I'm going to try good old soap and water and a stiff brush on this to see how that goes. Light staining, just not too much coming off there. I think I can clean it up a bit better. So next up is this melamine cleaning pad. Let's see how this goes. And some stains are just very stubborn. Oh, that's actually coming off there. Yeah. I think that is actually doing a far better job than the other methods. There you go. So that's what I'm going to use, these melamine cleaning pads. I have 32 centimeters this way, so I need to make up another 10 centimeters. I'm going to have 2 strips of this navy blue extra paneling on the top and the bottom, so I'll need 2 strips of about 6 centimeters to include a bit of seam allowance. So I'll go for that now. With that, maybe 7 centimeters, I think, just including that turn under there. So let's go for this. So there's one panel. Trim it down later, but that's going to go somewhere like that. Make another one. So I don't suppose it really matters, but I'm aiming for these seams to be in the center, and so I just need to trim a little off this, like that, and then get my 42. There it is. Okay. The front panel will end up looking more or less like that, but with the elbow pads covering these corners. So that's taking shape. So after some short work on that, I'm sure you can appreciate the difference before and after. Let's talk about the lining now. This is the material I like to use. It's from a Japanese textile producer, cosmotex.co.jp, and it ties in nicely with my maker's mark, the sort of cow print. And I'm working now on the zippered pocket for the interior, and the way this is going to work is there's going to be a piece of white leather like that, and this will have a type of bias tape really made from this same material around the edge, and it's going to be placed on top of this zipper which came from the ankle part of the suit. And so what I'm going to do is cut a small window about 2 centimeters by about 20 centimeters, and it will sit over the zipper like that. That's the kind of thing we're aiming for, and we can use something like that, ruler on top to apply some pressure to make sure that it lies flat. Bias tape, what is it? Well, I've taken a strip of that material and it's just cut at an angle, like a 45-degree angle. The reason is it's cut on the bias so that it gives you extra stretch when it is bound around the edges of things like this piece of leather. So I've taken this strip and placed it face down on top of the front of this panel, and so I'll be able to stitch around here as close to the edge as possible and then bend the tape over afterwards so that it gives a nice finished edge. So I've put a strip of double-sided tape here. I'll remove that backing and then fold it back just like this one, so it gives a flush fit, and that's what it's going to be like on the front. And you might have noticed some stitching holes here. I removed a Kushitani badge from there, and that's not going to be a problem because we're going to be stitching around this inside line anyway, so those are not going to be seen. We're now looking to the back of the bag, and it's been decided that the zippered pocket on the back will be horizontal, so like this. Now, to get my 42 by 42, I'm going to have to make a bit of a patchwork using some remnants from the legging parts. So I'll get on with chopping this up and seeing what we've got to work with. Okay, so this is a patchwork panel that I'm going to have to put together. So what I'm going to do is sew along here, so that will fold back there, and I might give it a flat felled seam. Take a look at it in a minute. So what I've got to decide now is how I'm going to edge this piece here. Do I keep this? Do I cut it out and replace it with something? I don't know. I've decided I want to keep the integrity of the collar line here and these details, the badges and whatnot, because, well, it's unique and it keeps the integrity of the original suit. So what I envisage is putting a shim of leather behind here, the opening of the neck part, and then a panel sort of covering that so that I'll have something to attach the front of the bag to. And then I'll put another panel here. It doesn't have to be a long strip, you know, something like that, and then it'll give me my 42 by 42, and I'll be able to go from there. So what I'll do next is I will put a stitch here by hand with some heavy gauge thread to make sure that this stopper doesn't come off once I've cut the unwanted piece off here. So I'll put a stitch on there off camera. I had an idea, maybe I could incorporate this Kushitani badge, which was from the sleeve, just in the neck pocket there, which might add a nice touch. It'll mean that I'll have to make some kind of panel along there, but that's what I'm working on next. I just had a second thought about that, because when the elbow pads are on and in place, that neck opening might get covered a bit, but, well, I mean, even if it just pokes out just a little bit, a centimetre or two, I think is quite a nice touch. I think it's worth trying. Just a little word about my sewing machine here. It has a name, Sweet Pea, because the brand is Seiko, a Japanese industrial sewing machine maker's name, and it also is the name of Seiko Matsuda, a famous Japanese pop idol from the 1980s, and she had a hit song called Sweet Pea, so that's why this sewing machine is called Sweet Pea. So this is where I'm at. I've sewn on 2 panels. This is the top, this is the bottom, this is one of the sides. This is yet to go on, so I'm just figuring out just where it needs to be stitched so that I get my 42 centimeters going this way. So in a moment this will be over to Sweet Pea, and it'll be more or less done on that sort of front face. So, you know, with all the preparation in the world, still make a mistake. I just stitched along the line, and then halfway down I realized I was on the wrong line, and so that means I've had to pull those stitches out. There are some holes here now, unfortunately. Yeah, I'm gutted really. It was a stupid mistake. I should have sewn it along here, not along here, but you know, that's the way it goes sometimes. Maybe I can cover that with something, haven't decided yet. In fact, the corner elbow pads will cover that to some extent anyway, so we'll see what that's like later on. So I fixed that panel on correctly this time, so I've got the right dimensions. It's a shame about that, but it is on the reverse of the bag, so hopefully it won't matter too much. So all that's left to do on this facing of the back of the bag is to cut down here, and then that is complete. So this is the state of play. The elbow pad will be going here, so I'm going to have a problem stitching around and over the zipper. Sweet Pea does not want to go over this zipper. It's a needle killer. So what I need to do is just remove some of the teeth, I think up to about here, and then when the pad is placed there, and it won't be a problem when I just stitch around there. On the front panel, I've strengthened the corners because he's got these vents here, which are actually a split in the leather. So I've put these sort of bits of scrap leather on here. I've glued them in place, so that will give something strong to bind to. I've got to still add these pieces here, and of course the elbow pads will cover those corners, so that's looking good. And as far as the elbow pads are concerned, the padding had perished on the inside, but I've got something really better than what was in there really. It's yoga mat. I hope the wife doesn't notice, you know, 20 centimeters missing from the end of a yoga mat, because this is going to get glued in here and on the other one. So yoga mat. We're looking at the back of the bag, and this is where the zipper lies. That's where it starts and it finishes there, and I need to make a bag, a pouch for that, so I'm going to use this. It's a Japanese style plain black bandana. Because I'm putting these elbow pads on the bottoms of the bag, I'm going to need to do a notched bottom on the bag, so that it kind of goes around this sort of shape here at the bottom. So what I'm going to do is just notch out a 3 by 3 centimeter square from the bottom pieces. That's already got a bit notched out already, so that's coming up. So I've sandwiched the pieces together facing each other, and the notches line up at the bottom here. So I'm going to sew around. I'm not going to sew these notches because I need to sort of pinch the bottom and sew that after, but I'm going to sew this and this edge. Right, so that pinched bottom is like this, and I just stitch one line across there on both corners. So now I'm turning it inside out and see what we've got. There's the front, looking good. Just need to stretch it out a bit. And the back. Oh, need to just strengthen that corner a bit. Sweet Pea was struggling a bit on that corner, so another line of stitching on there. But we're going to be putting the corners on the elbow pads, something like that, on there. And the blue one will be looking something like that. Now I hope I can skirt around this badge. Might be able to. That's quite possible, I think. I really hope so. And on the other side, I guess I'll put the white on there. On that side I think is better. And the blue will go on that side, so something like that. Good news, the zipper has just arrived. This is for the top of the bag. This is a YKK heavy duty number 10 zipper. I haven't used one just like this before, but I ordered this because it's the same as the one on the suit, except this is going to be the top of the bag. I'm using the other zipper on the back of the bag as a pocket zip. So now we can move on with the lining. I made that previously, and what I need to do is cut a small window here and then sandwich that little window frame and the zipper like that, and then sew around. I now need to just sew around this zip sandwich and make sure my label goes in at the same time. So I asked the internet if the bag should have just one zippered pocket and the lining, and I was told no, put more pockets in the lining. So this is going to be a sort of pouch pocket, using that bandana material again. A bit more simple construction than the zippered one, but basically the same. I'm going to cut a window here, sew around that, and then attach the bandana in something like that. So that's the pouch pocket finished. Kind of like a, what's that, trapezoid? Is that right? But nice size pouch pocket. Now about these elbow pads. I've made a decision. I'm going to make these smaller. I've put a mark here. I'm going to cut them here and nip and tuck them there for two reasons. One, I want to keep this badge visible, and it'll just be covered if I go the whole hog like that. And the other reason is it may be that I'll have to hand stitch this on, which means you know, reducing that workload would be a benefit to me, and I don't think it would be a problem aesthetically. Yeah, I think it'd look better in some respects, so I'm going to cut it there and stitch. So I've sewn that, turned it inside out, so I've got a kind of 90-degree corner here. That's quite smart, and that is the size that I want to cover up this edge bit here. where the vents were, and that's the kind of thing I'm looking at. So the question now is, will Sweet Pea be able to do this, or is it going to have to be hand stitched? Oh, another thing, yeah, the yoga mat's going to have to go. I need to reduce some of the bulk, and something that has occurred to me is that this is a very heavy bag, so I'm trying to reduce where I can. Obviously yoga mat doesn't weigh very much, but every little bit counts. I don't want people complaining too much about the weight. So I'm gluing that piece on the corner. It's on the back of a chair at the moment, so I'm going to put some glue on there and glue it down, and then hopefully it won't move about too much on the machine. I'm impressed at how well Sweet Pea managed with that. That is great. I'm looking at this new zipper for the top of the bag, and it's brand new and it's fine, but it's a little bit stiff. I'm going to put a little bit of wax on the back of it. Not too much, and see how it goes. Wax on, wax off. Yeah, so I'll do the same on the other's big zipper too. I'm going to try and clean up that badge right there. It's got some stains, I don't know what it is. It could be a bit of rust or something, I don't know, but it was under that plastic, so could have been rainwater or sweat, or hope it wasn't blood. Oh, I don't think it was. I've been given my instructions as far as the strap is concerned, and it was decided that a sort of seat belt material belt strap would be better than a webbing belt, which I gave as an option. And I got this strap. It was already made up. I bought it new, and it's like a, I don't know, back supporter or something with some heavy duty clasps on the front, so I can repurpose this for the bag very nicely. I think this blue is particularly attractive, and it's got the classic sort of seat belt sort of herringbone sort of pattern there. It's very attractive, and it's got this large nylon centerpiece here, which I think is ideal for this K Racing badge to be sewn onto. So a couple of considerations here. One is how am I going to cover these ugly joins here? Well, I've got some 1000 denier black cordura, which will do just the job. I'm going to make two sort of triangles, which will sort of end up something like that, hopefully a bit smarter than that, and that's going to look really great. And on the back triangle, I'm going to use this Kushitani Hamamatsu, this last badge that I've got available to use, which I think will pay homage to the original maker in a nice way. So that'll go on the back there, and I just need to rejig these buckles. I guess this will be at the back of the bag, you know, sort of out of the way. Most people, I think, once they've set the length of the strap, they kind of just leave it like that. So yeah, I'll have that at the back of the bag, I think, and the other end will be attached permanently, I guess, to the leather on the front of the bag. So that's the strap done. I've just got to attach the buckle to the end there. I've got to change the thread. I'll put some blue thread for that. That's looking good. And about the zipper, I'm going to add this pull tab, something like that. Going to glue it and stitch it. That's going to be pretty nice too. On the last leg of the lining now, and this is where I want the zipper to be. So I'm just lining it up on the top edge of the lining panel, and I need this as well, and that is gonna go like that Again, it's exactly 42 centimeters, so that will be a sandwich of this piece of leather and the zipper and the lining, so that we'll have a drop-in lining, a sort of recessed zipper feature on this bag. So that's the zipper fitted in. Not really sure what to do with the end of zips really, but I've sewn the ends there so that they're going to hold together, and I can anchor that to something if needs be. The lining is made exactly the same as the outer and to the same dimensions, and also I've got the pinched bottom on the outer, so I've got to do that as well on the inner. Now I'm going to sew up the sides of the lining, and I'm going to leave the bottom of the lining unstitched so that I'll be able to turn the bag inside out on itself, and we'll have some nice turned edges. This is the back part, the anchor for the strap. I'm going to sew this in before I put the lining. You can see here why the measurements are critical, because the outer bag is now inside the lining, as it were, and it's a perfect fit. So now I must sew around this edge here. These pieces of leather will be joined at the top all around. Yeah. Okay, so I did wrong on the attaching the blue part of the strap there, so I'll have to redo that. But the other end is fine. So just got to rectify that mistake. So when attaching the strap, you've got to make sure that the strap is going to be the right way round, and that it's going to come through that, be stitched through that sandwich of leather there. So now we're turning it inside out, hopefully for the last time. Yeah. I wanted it to be. Good. Next, I'm going to squeeze those pieces of leather that join together and stitch all around the edge there. That will give us our recessed look. So that's coming up right now. It's worth just going around pinching it together, because it's going in a way that it's not used to, so got to train it, persuade it a bit like this, and then we should have a nice professional looking seam once it's stitched. So now we've got this kind of look on the top, which is pretty smart. Bit of a wobble on the stitching there, but you know, it was getting heavy. It was difficult to keep it in place, but I don't think it distracts too much from the impact of this bag, because it is spectacular. Just making a little tab for the zipper. Here's the finished bag. The strap is attached, and I've added a tab to the end of the zipper there, and there's just one more thing to do, and that is to pull the lining out up to here and then stitch along that bottom line. of the lining, and then this bag is good to go. Thanks for watching.